Today is 21st April 2026, the summertime in Mumbai. Last night, many of us would have slept with the air conditioner on in our bedroom. Few moments later, few minutes, maybe an hour or a couple of hours later since waking up, we would have had the water geyser switched on in our bathroom when we were taking bath. What a contradiction. What an irony. AC in the night and early morning, the water geyser on taking bath in hot water. So are we just merely succumbing to the pleasure of our skin, the choice of our skin? What is it that we want to prove in such a scenario? Are we just going by the impulses of our temptations? Yes, people may say it's life. Yes, it is life. And I know life is a series of experiences. And for any experience to happen, there has to be three aspects, three components. An experiencer, the experienced, which may be a situation or an individual and an object, and the relation between the two called the experience itself. So experiencer, experienced, and the experience. This is what is an experience. And life is a series of experiences. And if you have to behave like the dry leaf that's being picked up by the wind, moved on from one place to the other, and that keeps happening with no resistance, without knowing our personality and without knowing as to how to adjust ourselves to the challenges and demands and tribulations of life, then are we really leading a life? What is the purpose of this life? For this very experience, there are three components again: the body, the mind, and the intellect. The body keeps gathering data through these five senses. It supplies to the mind, and mind in turn carries it to the intellect, and the intellect is supposed to process the data and accordingly take a suitable decision. But if the data collected is not of good quality, untimely data, bulky data, constantly if this is happening, then how will the mind, which is going to be tired of this voluminous data, how will it actually give that required right information to the intellect? And sometimes when I say untimely, you are coming for an examination to the college, two boys, two girls, let's say, two individuals. Both are equally prepared for doing well in the exam, but during the travel, a common incident happens to both of them. They were traveling together, let's say. All of a sudden, some unpleasant situation has happened. The first student feels that's fine, it's okay, I'm going for my exam. That's my focus. I'm not going to get too much perturbed by this particular situation. Whereas the second one feels very concerned about, no, it was not our mistake, and why did the co-passengers did that, or the auto rickshaw wala, why has he or she done? All these kind of questions keep coming into the minds of the second student, and the thought keeps moving in the mind, and then finally both of them reaches the exam. Now tell me, who would have prepared, who would have actually done the examination well? I'm sure the first one, because he was unperturbed, his focus was on exam. Second one, equally well prepared, but unfortunately carrying the burden of that particular incident. This also takes me to another story which I learned in childhood. There were two boys. The teacher wanted to actually test them. They said, okay, I'm giving you 5 rupees each. Day after tomorrow I'll come. There are 2 rooms identical size. And I want you to buy whatever you think is relevant and pertinent, buy that and fill the rooms. When I come, the rooms should be full. So the boy A immediately clicks mind, an impulsive mind. He starts thinking, for 5 rupees, what is it that I can get to get the room filled? He goes around buying all the garbages that's available in the city on the streets, and finally manages to get the room full. The second boy starts thinking, what is it that I can do, with a calmer and serene mind. He does nothing for almost 2 days. Just before the teacher was to arrive on the second day, just before that, he goes to the local shop, buys camphor and incense stick, brings it to the room, lights them and keeps. So when the teacher comes, He couldn't even enter the first room because that was full of stink, garbage stinking, and the second room was so pleasant. What is the difference between these two individuals who have done these actions? I believe that it is their mind, quality of their mind. The second one took time, think over it, and then felt that yes, I can fill the room with camphor, incense on that nice order. And what did the first one do? So this sort of a thing, why is it happening? Now today, literally as a teacher, I am not just going to be giving just examples like this. I want to actually address the root cause. Go back to the point called the experiencer. The mind gets all the information supplied by these senses and it goes to the intellect. Today we are all concerned about data, quality of data, cleaning out data and all of it. So if you do not have that inner depth within your personality, you will be like the dry leaf or something that is not very strong. If you have the depth in your personality, you will take time. With a calmer mind, I am sure you will be able to take a suitable decision in whatever we do. Great men in this world have recognized that there is a deeper aspect in our mind. President Harry S. Truman of the United States once identified and said, that is a foxhole in my mind. And he used to take refuge in that whenever he was vexed and tired with the outside world. He would just withdraw, go into the deeper part of it, relax, and then come out with more vigor, having a higher sense of purpose. And our Mahatma Gandhi also called it a small inner voice. So are we going to get tempted by the external stimuli and take decisions and act impulsively, or are we going to pause for a moment and take a wiser decision? See, many situations we encounter in life. As I said, life is a series of experiences. The choice is yours. Whether you want to feel the calm and serenity of the depth of the ocean or the disturbances on the surface of the ocean water. So everybody knows when you have a balanced mind, you are able to perform well in all our actions. Let me give an example. The organizers told me that it's always better to give examples and if possible, your own personal example. When I was appointed as the principal of the college on 9th February 2009, I had just had about 1.5 years of experience only as a vice principal, no other administrative experience literally. But management thought I could do it. So initial part was all how to take decisions. Because from being a teacher in the department, you directly come into administration where you have to take care of administrative and academic matters. You are literally the face of the institution. So many stakeholders are actually looking at you. You cannot think the way you would have thought when you were in the department or just merely teaching the subject. So initially decisions were taken. It had certain things went well, many things would have gone wrong. But I had faith. Another tool. To feel that quiet threshold, I knew that you need to sit back, relax, and understand that all these things will pass away. Remember, even this will pass away. I am talking to you in this TEDx talks of our college. Even this is going to be a thing of the past. So the ability to understand that there will be ups and downs in one's life and nothing is only the roughness of the grinding wheel alone can polish the tool. If everything is polished and nice, you are not going to get polished. So challenges will come. You have to understand the very impermanent nature of this world. So I am trying to address the root cause. The youngsters who are sitting here, I am sure in your life, you are going to have tough challenges. We in academic institutions, schools and colleges, we train you for a definitive outcome. You prepare this much, you get this much marks. You can predict the outcome depending on the efforts put in by the student. But life is not like that. Life training is totally different. Even if you have put in the best effort, there could be unpleasantly outcomes coming biased and all of it, judgmental errors, making things. So life is a big challenge. The training that you're going to get in your life is totally going to be different from what you are getting in schools and colleges, wherein everything is fixed. You do this much. If you don't study, everybody knows. Nobody is going to say that you're going to get good marks if you're not studied. Depending on the quality of the work that you are putting, your teacher can almost predict as to what could be your percentage, school and colleges. But that's not the case for life. So the important thing here is understanding that quiet threshold. I believe that quiet threshold is not in just, it's people say it's quite private. It is left to you. You are not looking for any external applause or recognition, etc. It is your moment. You sit, relax, with a calmer mind, you judge and come out with your own decisions and actions. Yes, it can keep happening every now and then. For a successful person to achieve bigger things in life, there will be tests intermittently. And my journey, which I was talking about earlier, for the last 17 years, and now into the 18th year, I faced it enough. My colleagues and the management would know what differences happen to the college in terms of the qualitative factors as well as the quantitative factors. There must have been many moments when I thought, no, this is not for me now, it's enough. But then, what could drive you? So here is the most important aspect in life, that if you are inspired by some higher purpose in life, you don't need to be unnecessarily perturbed by intermediate disturbances that come your way. You need to be inspired by either an individual or a situation or a higher purpose. That inspiration is a must. Otherwise, we'll just lead our life like the calf following its path. The first one goes and everybody goes. The life goes on like this. That life called series of experiences will go on like this, and one day it will end up whether you like it or not. But an individual who is inspired, and that's here where I feel a spiritual background that I've had has helped me a lot. When I say spiritual background, it's not to be confused as a saintly life, some brahmachari life, etc. Yes, we know it. To achieve, you need self-control, you need self-awareness, you need to go into that depth of your personality, all that understanding. But if we understand that, beyond what those three factors for the body that I mentioned, body, mind and intellect, there is something more in us. We have to awaken that. You know, technology companies say powered by Huawei. What is it that powering? Their equipment they always market like that, powered by Huawei, Chinese company. So what is it that is powering me as an individual? Whether I need to be taking everything as it comes and then start imposing self-punishment and say, no, why it happened to me and all of it. Bhagavan Lord Krishna did exactly this in terms of training his student called Arjuna. An extremely capable archer, capable warrior, having known as to why he was there on the battlefield, the entire context was very clear to him. He was not pushed into it all of a sudden. He knew why he was there. All efforts to avoid the war were all discussed about, but nothing worked, and finally this had to happen. In spite of that, seeing his teacher and grandfather and all of it, he sort of cracked and he said, I can't do this job. Lord Krishna did not say, no, you have to do it because of this, etc. Yes, he did tell him that you do your duty. We have done our best to avoid the war, but it does not happen. Now you need to perform and do your act according to your Swadharma. You are a Kshatriya, you need to fulfill your duties. We have no other choice. We did everything to avoid this. And after that Lord awakening of 17 chapters and 700 slokas, this man gets up and says, okay, I will do my duty. In each one of us, at times, that Arjuna syndromes keep cropping up. When faced with situations, we will say, no, I can't. These are the difficult situations. You have to convince yourself and have focus on what you intend to do. Let that Arjuna syndrome keep propping up in our personality, but your intellect is supposed to rise above and say, this will also be a thing of the past. Why do I get worried? Let me focus on my work. That inner depth, understanding the deeper layers of our personality. Sachin Tendulkar, the person who trained Sachin Tendulkar, his friend once told me, at any point in time, Mumbai has more than 100 Sachin Tendulkars in terms of the batting capabilities. But why only Sachin Tendulkar became god of cricket? Because of the simplicity in nature, his own very colleague who was even more talented than you must have seen in the recent media. You must have seen what condition he is in, Vinod Kambli. So that particular aspect of being a school teacher, simple school teacher's son, and going through that modest background, being totally focused on what he has to do and throwing away the temptations of the market world, publicity and all of it, he has worked hard to reach that position. So each one of you sitting here can do that self-audit. And I always intend to tell all the youngsters, everybody in fact, it is advisable to employ a technique called self-audit in our life. Keep auditing yourself. Is there a possibility that I can correct my behavior? How was it yesterday? In that context, this happened, this should not have happened, and all of it. If you do that auditing part and keep convincing yourself, you will be able to be a better person as time goes by. But if you think, no, I am always right, it will happen the way, my way or highway, then this correction is not going to, correction of personality outlook is not going to change. So it's important for youngsters today to spend some time in search of that silence within you. Not only youngsters, everybody, each one of us. We are all living in the fast-moving, technology-driven world. Technology, entertainment, design, TED. Keep entertaining. Technology, everybody knows, should be used wisely. Keep entertaining yourself also. Entertain yourself in that utter silence deep within you. Why you want others to be around you to get entertained? Let the entertainment of the external world be kept aside and just enjoy that peace and silence deep within. This is the best thing one can do to oneself. People call it relaxation, going on a holiday and all of it, etc. And also I would say design. Design and code for yourself. Have a proper programming language, code for yourself. These things if you do, I am sure you will be very successful in whatever activities that you take up to do in your life. It's important. God has given you tremendous capabilities, but if you do not know how to take care of yourself, you will not reach anywhere and your life's focus and mission will be unfulfilled and in the most unsatisfying manner it will meet with an end. So it's important for all of you to search for that inner silence. It is important for you to search for that quiet threshold every now and then. It's not, according to me, it's not just a once in a lifetime, all of a sudden I give up everything and become a saint or I become something else. No. It will keep pursuing you every now and then. That quiet threshold needs to be identified at every stage and that's your choice. That threshold needs to be understood and set by each one of you and bring dexterity in all your actions. Understand that you are destined for a better thing. There is no one lowly or high in the eyes of the great creation. There is no big or small. So each one of us have got our own place in this universe. Let's work towards searching for that quiet threshold and do the best that we can in our life. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.